Okay, so I'm going to carry on in doing my wonderful world of Orky skin. So in this one, I'm actually going to create a lighter skin tone. So obviously, I've got my Kruleboyz who have a kind of pale complexion, but still with lots of deep shadows. I've got my Iron Jaws, in particular, Savage Orruks at the moment, who have very dark green skin. And then, of course, any grots. So I'm going to do my grots with this very light coloured tone. Going to keep it simple, minimal shade. Like, shading's going to be on there. And then, of course, a dry brush to just pick out key areas of skin tone. So let's see what you think of this then. So 3 simple colours. I'm going to start off with Orruk Flesh, then do a shade of Athonian Camo shade, and then dry brush just to highlight with Lauren Forest. Now I'm going to probably even do the Gloomspite Gitz in this green colour, but I suppose that's a decision that can be made later on, really, whether or not I want my Gloomspite Gitz to be this shade. Because, again, it's a nice pale colour, this. Looks good on these hobgrots. Looks good on, like, the stab grot that comes. I've done him in this colour scheme. So I might do the Gloomspite Gitz like this, or I might just go completely, think up another colour scheme. I'm actually even tempted to do them a different skin colour entirely, but I'll make that decision when I get to that point. I've overwatered that back then. So there's a fine line between getting it the right consistency so that you can push it around, and getting it so thin that it's just like a wet streak. So that's the point, though, sometimes of doing 2 thin coats, because, obviously, if your first layer's not really got the coverage you wanted, it's best to do 2 thin coats and get them nicely balanced. Don't keep adding, thickening, or whatever else, You can tell I'm not a professional painter, I'm just like painting. But I might do something, particularly for, people who are not the strongest painters, maybe to give them a little bit of confidence. At least that's what I hope I'm doing here, by showing some really simple colour schemes, basically. Oh, these hobgrots, I love them. They've got, honestly, I don't know why, but I just think they've got so much personality in their faces. Whereas if I look at the actual Kruleboyz, I just don't think that, you know, they've got nice designs to them, but I don't know, the other faces look kind of very same. You know, they've got like hoods and stuff, but the way those faces kind of look. I don't know. I just find these hobgrots like they've got personality. I suppose each to their own. Maybe some people don't like them. But I do. I like these guys, they're cool. Right, I'm having a look what's going on with his toes here, because it looks really weird. Hang on. Yeah, he's literally standing in such a way that it's like there's a little leaf going, a little bit of shrub growing between his toes. Weird. Try and get under there now. Right. Okay, so I'm just gonna use the excess to add a bit of extra paint across the board. Just where it might not have got as thick as I want it to. But overall, you know, the reason I undercoat in grey is usually because I want that grey to kind of be pushing through the other colours. But for this guy, I don't want that grey to be really prominent because he's already a light colour. Okay. Now, what I need him to do is just dry a tiny little bit more before I apply my shade. So I'm just going to sit him like this, pop him back on his base, let him dry for a little bit. I'm going to carry on painting some others. I'm going to pause the camera, carry on painting a few others up while that dries. Okay, so now that he's dried off, I can now move on to my next, which is the Athonian Camo shade. Now I'm going to basically get a good generous amount on my brush here, and I'm basically just going to push it outwards, and I really want to get deepen these shadows with it. Now, because this guy is kind of the leader of this, I'm not worried as well if I get this slightly darker during the process than I would do for the others. Because, you know, darkening of skin colour is usually a sign of strength with the Orruks. I'm trying to actually think. I was thinking about like my grot, what are they called now? The Gloomspite Gitz when I get around to getting some. I was having a think actually while these were drying, and my brain just went, oh, what if I actually incorporated, like, kept them green, but underpainted them, the skin, in a red or some such thing, you know, just to kind of upset and offset the green. So I'm going to have a good think about how I would achieve that. But, you know, obviously if I start off with a red and push the green, basically I'll be creating an underpainting. I'm just trying to think of gloom colours, you know, so something to almost sort of upset the natural ordering of the colour. Something to, you know, the thing is, I've got to think about it carefully because they will spend most of their lives on the ground. So obviously creatures that spend all their lives on the ground will frequently lack, you know, pigments. They've got no need for them. So I was thinking about how I could make that work. Okay, now that's going to take a little while to dry, so again I'll just carry on painting other things while that dries. Okay, and now finally I'm going to do a dry brush of Lauren Forest. So just going to get my dry brush prepared. Really, it's just about, to begin with, just making sure that you work the colour deep into the bristles. There we go. Right. And then I'm just going to get this colour on the model. Obviously, I'm trying to just pick out really just as where possible the accent really on the muscles. On the hands, so basically the tip of the hands. Okay, so hopefully you can start to see that there's kind of a certain amount of like tone going on. It's just kind of hitting all the right points. Right, and there we go. So basically now I've got the exact colour that I want, which is great. You know, obviously we got the very light base colour of that Orruk Flesh. That's given a nice starting point. Then the camo shade has come along and kind of just dropped into the recesses and the joints to give some nice shadow. And then finally that Lauren Forest just to kind of pick up and highlight the key little areas. So I hope you like that video. That's my that's the colour that I used to do a grots and hobgrots. Now if you wanted, you could use that same colour on the Kruleboyz if you were, you know, basically trying to go for, you know, the Games Workshop heavier metal style. Okay then, hope you like that video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.